Right guys, I made an error. Pretty big error, and I always like to be honest with everyone, and yeah, I need to redo Chunks and the Blue Acara's tank for sure. I don't know why I sounded so sort of like morbid about that. I love making tanks, so it's not a problem. But this time it's a properly justified reason, other than I've had it for a certain amount of time and I want to do another one. I mean, I've only just set this up pretty much, and I'm going to be redoing it again. So what's wrong with it? Well, I mean, from a distance, it doesn't look too bad, but as soon as you get close, we've got cyanobacteria, we've got algae everywhere, you know, and just having a bit of algae in your tank isn't a good enough reason, in my opinion, just to restart, because I could get rid of that. That wouldn't be a problem. And in fact, I have got rid of it on some of the leaves, but it's come straight back. And the reason it's come straight back is because when I put in the sand in this tank, underneath it, I had loads of nutrients. I had soil and like all sorts of stuff just to give nutrients to the roots. I didn't put Hoplo catfish back in here. I moved them across to this tank, this side, thinking that means it wouldn't disturb the substrate system. But it turns out it's the Blue Acaras that have been disturbing the whole system, because when they want to lay eggs, they just dig this sort of bowl in the sand. I always thought Acaras and things like that like to put stuff on stones. There's loads of surfaces they could have put them on, but they like to create this bowl out of the sand, and in doing so, digs up the nutrients underneath. First time it happened, I was like, okay, cool, sort of fill it back in. They'd moved the fish elsewhere, the fry, which all got eaten in the end anyway. So yeah, I covered that up, and I was like, right, treat the algae now that's formed as a result of all those nutrients, do the water change, that sort of thing. But they just keep doing it. I mean, the only way for it to stop would be to take them out, or wait until they've just done that everywhere and there's no more nutrients left. Now that could be a long time, and it's just not nice to look at. So I'm gonna redo it, and this time I'll do it with just a completely inert substrate. So there won't be plants in there, but there'll be lots of other ones dotted around, and should still be able to make it look really good. And it's the same pair each and every time, and it tends to be down. Let me move this out of the way. Yeah, so you see that dip that we're seeing right down there? Well, this section was all the way up, much, much higher, and obviously it's exposed all the roots and that as well. So you can see they've dug right down in the nutrient section. It then goes all up in the water column and just kind of trashes the tank ultimately. There we go, there's the main male, and there's the female as well. So it looks like at the moment they're in that area. Any babies around them at the moment? No, but they're just going around trashing everything. So there's the female, I think, and there's the male next to it. Look, they're thrashing at the ground. They're trying to clear out areas, trying to find that perfect little spot, I guess. It's quite funny, because after they dig out the section, they spit all the sand like in all different areas around the tank, and it just goes like wherever it wants. Chunks doesn't seem bothered by it though. He's like, yeah, fine. So I'm sorry, buddy. I'm gonna have to upset the balance and everything a little bit again. Hopefully this be the last time for a while. Good news is I can literally just transport the fish to the tank next door, which is all set up and ready to go, been running. So that'll be absolutely fine. And then we can create something that's not gonna just get trashed every week. Yeah, so that's my error, obviously. When I've had Acara before in tanks, planted tanks, when I think about it, the sections where the nutrients were right at the back. There wasn't really an area to get in and sort of dig it out. Either that or I did it even deeper. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, this is just definitely not working. So let's create something cool. There we go, nice and clean. Now I want to create a hardscape in this setup that is very sort of, more horizontal based, like lots of stuff streaming across. So it gives it the impression that there's lots and lots in there, but there's still going to be tons of swim space. I mean, there will be anyway, because it's not a huge amount of fish at the end of the day. Chunks is the biggest by far. I'm not even sure if I'm going to put these electric Blue Acaras back in, because they're quite raggedy. I'm just not sure, you know, we've got the breeding pair which look very high quality. I'm not sure about these guys. Like when you compare those three with the one that we can see just hiding at the back, I mean, it's night and day in terms of quality. I mean, they were both bought from different places, so that kind of does make sense. Anyway, I'm going to start getting some rocks in and get the creation process started. So So at this point, I'm literally just chucking stuff in, some sort of like shape to it, I guess, but nothing is certain at this point. I've got no idea how the wood's going to want to sit. I'm just getting stones in there really more than anything. But now I can start putting the wood on top. I've just had a new delivery. So I've just got all of this wood here. There's some more rocks underneath as well I could probably use if I need to, but yeah, great selection. It's all like aged mangrove wood from Superfish. Really, really cool stuff, great shapes. We've got like long ones, stumpier ones, but all of it's got great character. Okay, there we go. I've got a good structure to start with. I've basically gone for an island right in the middle so that there's loads of swim room all the way around it. But when you're down here, it looks pretty cool, right? I added one section to the side there going that way because it felt empty. And then it sort of sweeps together like that. I might even add some more, to be honest, but for now I want to get that all locked down. You know, Chunks is a big fish, so it needs to make sure there's decent gaps in between everything. Well, he's a big fish to me anyway. Biggest in the fish room. And actually the only fish I've had that were bigger than him were my discus, and that was a long time ago. He's so cool. Okay, there we go, that's all locked down. I think it looks great. I mean, I kind of don't want to plant it. No, I will be planting it for sure. But you know, with cichlids, sometimes like a hardscape only tank, it's cool, but I know what I'm like. I won't like that as much for the cichlids because I know that they can be with the plants and the plants can do really well with the cichlids. I just think they just go together really well. And I'm thinking of maybe adding in some nutrients in the back section, but this time putting them in the mesh bags like I always used to. Completely forgot about that method actually. And then if the Acara dig down, it won't matter because the nutrients will be locked in the bags. Mesh bags, where are you? Ah, there we go. So look at these, look, there's holes in the back, well, it's a mesh, obviously there's holes in it. And lots of people ask me if the roots of the plants can penetrate the mesh. Yes, they absolutely can. The amount of times I've taken these out and they're just completely chock-a-block with roots. So we want to take our aqua soil and just pour it in. It's simple as that. Zip it up and stick it where you want nutrients to be in the tank. And try not to spill it as much as I just did. Then we can place all of our aqua soil packs flat in the background. Make sure they do lay flat because then the sand will be able to just sit over the top of them. And then we can cap everything in sand in the background area and then I'm just going to keep it quite sort of shallow in the foreground. They're going to push it around anyway. And it just means everything will be a lot easier for this sort of type of aquarium. There we go, we're seriously cracking on. So this substrate, or actually, sorry, decorative sand, you can see there's little other stones and stuff in it. I recycled it from my Mbuna tank. Yeah, so this is the Mbuna tank that I set up recently, and the previous iteration had way more of the sand you can see down there, so I had loads left over. And I just think having those little bits of stone and everything like that in it really does add to the realism than just absolutely pure white sand everywhere. Saying that, they have dug out massive sections of it that is all nice and clean underneath anyway, but yeah, looking good. Loving this tank, by the way. Let's build video for this one if you're interested. But I definitely want way more detail with this one. I want a lot more stones, like smaller ones, tying it all in, coming out in the foreground, like just really giving it that underwater river cichlidy vibe. Again, more words put together there that didn't make much sense, but hopefully it'll all come together. Yeah, I'm loving that, but I've got this nice big pinky rock I think it's going to look good in this section to bring some extra height to it and some colour as well. Give it a bit of angle. Yeah, I like that. Look at that, it's just interesting. And the colour palette of all the mixed stones, look, it just really works well together. Then you've got the darkness of the wood. Brilliant. I want to tie it all in with some gravel though, for sure. Or do I? If I do that, I will lose the sort of separation of each rock and colour. I might just leave it like that for now, and then at some point later on, if I want to, I can add in sort of detail stones that tie it together. But I think this one might be better not to tie it together. So I want to try something different with this tank. Now, not vastly different, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to try green epiphyte plants all in the bottom sort of section, and then just red and yellow tones in the whole background, and some more like sort of maybe just in between some of the rocks and that kind of thing. I think that'll actually look really, really cool. It's not something I've actually tried before, like the definite gap between like a green barrier, if you like, from the epiphytes, and then the stems being red. So let's give it a go. Start off with the epiphytes, the greens, the Anubias, Java ferns, Bobitis, that kind of thing. And I've just had a plant delivery, which Kate has kindly organised for me, my wife. Look at all of that Anubias. And in here is lots of Bobitis as well. And then here is the fern section, the Java ferns. Nice. And as many of you know, I get my plants from Aquafleur, and they're just such good quality. Now, if your shop doesn't stock Aquafleur, then tell them to get in contact and order them. They're so good. I mean, you get huge bunches, and I also love the root systems that's on them. I'll leave that on them. Some people trim it off, but I just think it adds to like the realism of the tank. So Kate's just come in and she's doing some feeding. Chunks can be a little bit stubborn when you move him at the moment. Look, he's not eating any of the food. He'll be fine, don't get me wrong, but he keeps looking across at his new tank like, what's going on in there? What are you doing? You liking it so far?
He won't eat until he's moved.
No, but we'll move him. It won't be long. I mean, it's been a day so far because I took it all apart yesterday, building it today, filling it up, and then by tomorrow, you'll be able to go back into your bigger tank, which you'll like a lot better than before, to be honest. But there we go, all the Anubias prepared. It's very simple. You just pull off the rock wall and then you've got your plant. And you can either glue these using that super glue gel, for instance, on the rhizome, the bottom part, not the leaves obviously, or you can just find cracks and crevices and sort of lock them in, which is probably what I'll do. There we go, that transforms it really nicely straight away, I think. Just those little bits of detail. I don't want to put any more of the Anubias because it will just hide the hardscape, and I'm loving the colours in this one. I do want a little bit of Bobitis though in a couple of areas, just really to create some interest in that upper section on a couple of pieces. I don't want to use Java ferns. I think they're going to be way too green. It might look a bit odd. So yeah, just a bit of Bobitis. Yeah, I think that works really well. You can see I've left a section in the middle completely open. I think that's because I want to put a nice lotus in there, tiger lotus. Yes, this one currently in Chunks' tank. Well, it's not just Chunks' tank, it's the Acara's as well, but that one there is, come on buddy, give me a chance. That one there's growing really, really well. So I'm just going to transfer it over, and it will continue to do well. I transferred it to here from another tank, and it just keeps growing so good. And over in the Red Devil Angelfish tank, there's even more in here. So that is getting a little bit overgrown. So I might pinch some of those as well and transfer them. Don't forget to mist down your plants as well as you're working. I mean, these ones are pretty hardy, but still, I'm gonna give them a bit of moisture. They've not got the rock wool now, all on their roots with water, so it's good just to keep spraying. So I'm now just going to fill up the whole tank with water. I find it way easier to put background plants in and stems when it's full of water. You can just see how they're sitting. And it means I don't have to keep misting everything down as well. Right, that's filled up, looking crystal clear. I mean, I'm expecting to come in tomorrow because this is brand new wood and it'd be really, really murky. But for now, it's perfect. We can address that if and when it happens. It's time to start putting some plants in that background section. And the red plants I've got in here, look, we've got Alternanthera cardinalis, which is like more of a bigger leafed, and it goes very purple. I've got Rotala hra in here, and I've got a Myophyllum matagrossum in this one. I've also got loads of sort of reddy orangey plants that I can take from this tank here, which is part of the triple, even more on the end tank as well. And then I've got loads more in the 8 foot as well, so some really good quality Rotala hra, some Ludwigia there, look, and even more myophyllum. So we've got plenty to choose from. Oh, and some young ones, I say young plants. Recently trimmed this all back and it's growing back again, but you know, they could be quite good to use a little bit in the foreground, maybe. So first up is the Rotala Indica Red, it is, not hra. I'll keep it in its weights because all the roots will just grow out the bottom and they will find the nutrients. But if I keep it in the weights, yeah, we can see them poking over the top still. It'll be absolutely fine. And then when you take trimmings later on, you can just replant them properly. But I've just found this is a really good way of getting things started. Another one at the edge there. Some more on this side. Nice little pocket there. Nice and bright in this area. The reds do like higher lighting as well. So that's normally what makes them red. A lot of people quite often think you need CO2 to grow red plants. You don't. You need high lighting. Normally this CO2 means that you can have high lighting without getting so much algae because the plants grow fast. But if you can get the lighting just right, where it's bright enough to keep it red, you don't need CO2. CO2 will make it so much easier and better, but you know, I just don't like using it on many of my tanks. And the best thing, and sometimes makes it the worst thing about stem plants, is that they grow so fast. When you've got one tank, that's ideal. Fast growth means it's using nutrients. And it also means that within a month, those will be hitting the surface. Now, to give it some extra height in the meantime, we can use our other stems that have already sort of been grown underwater. These are brand new plants. Most of them are grown out of water. It's only the tips you can see that have started growing in their submerged form. The rest haven't, but that won't take long to change at all. But we can really get some height now with some of the plants that I've got established in other tanks. There we go, got a really nice collection there to get started. And what I'm going to do is clump each one, wrap a little bit of paper towel around the base, and then put those in rings as well, so they can just sit on the substrate like before. I just find it's the best way to get a natural look straight away, is to put them into those clumps and put them somewhere near each other, other than just sort of plug in each one individually, which A, takes forever, and B, can look a little bit funny sometimes on a new setup. But yeah, I've kind of decimated that section. Not to worry, it will grow back. If I need any more, I've got some more as well on that side and on that side, but for now I'll stick with what I've got. I definitely want to put in the tiger lotus though at some point. This one here is quite big, but it's been a bit starved of light, which now means it will grow back quite nicely. I've got an absolutely gorgeous one in this tank, look, but it's growing so nicely I don't want to like take it out. And this one's a little bit shorter, so maybe it's something I can put in the foreground. Maybe it's like a focal point in this sort of front section here somewhere. That could work quite well. So I've come in the next day, and as predicted, we have got some tint going on. No murkiness though. It actually looks kind of cool, I think, but to be honest, not really the look I'm going for. I will want it to be clear. So I'll be putting some stuff in the filter that will get rid of it. Basically some microporous polymers, and they eat up the tannins and get them locked inside and sort of bind together, and then that'll keep it clear. They're not here yet though. They won't be coming till later today. In the meantime, I can just carry on with the plants. I like what we've got so far. It looks cool, but I want more. Always want more. Yeah, I think that looks great, and it's only going to look even better when that water's clear. So I'm going to whip the water down, whip it back up again, and then this evening I'll put in the polymers, and hopefully tomorrow it will be crystal clear. So it's now the next day, and here we are, nice and clear. Everything's looking so good. It's got kind of a real arty feel to it. I really love the pop of green all along the wood and rock structures, and then that red behind it just makes everything a little bit different. With the one focal tiger lotus in the foreground. And of course, this is a crazy simple scape, but when you're dealing with bigger fish, especially cichlids, simple is sometimes a lot better, easier to maintain, easier to monitor them, but awesome enough that they're going to be able to really enjoy it. And it's now definitely time to get these guys across into the new home. I'm going to stick with what I said. I'm only going to be putting the really good electric blue Acaras in, which are down at the back at the moment. And obviously I'm going to put back all the tetra as well. We've got the red eye tetra and we've got the lemon tetra there. A good size, way too big for Chunks to be able to actually munch on, because I'm pretty sure he would if he could. Not an aggressive fish, to be honest, not towards any of the other cichlids in here. He's a pretty chill guy, aren't you, mate? Oh, you're going to love it. Here we go, they're the first fish going in. We've got the tetras. And they should look so good in this tank. Really stand out. You better see them schooling really easy as well with that lit up background completely open. They all group together. They're different species, but they still school. And then we've got our electric blue Acara pair. I'm going to keep the other ones separate, like I said. I'm going to put them in quarantine and keep an eye on them. There we go. A little bit stressed, so they've lost their colours a little bit, but they're still looking very, very good. Already trying to find some little spots to start breeding. Then we've got our bristle nose, 2 actually, and a nice big collection of snails as well as our clean-up crew. And the bristle nose, as usual, don't want to come out. Come on, guys. This might be a manual job. There we go. And introducing, last but not least, our star of the show. There you go, buddy. Oh, he looks so good in there. Oh, the colours suit him so well. There you go. You can see your buddies. Chill out a bit. He did not like being in that pot, to be honest, but it was only for a second. So this is going to be an absolutely fantastic setup, I think, for Chunks and all of the other fish. I mean, just look at that school there, looking so good. Electric blue Acara seem to have taken up residence already in that middle section. Together always. So cute, to be honest, like seeing the pair of them just everywhere, always together. They're going to have less threat of their babies as well now that we've taken out the other ones. And yeah, massively happy overall with just how the tank looks. Chunks looking absolutely brilliant right now. So his colours are showing up massively and his barring, because obviously moving him was stressful. So he'll chill out in a bit and his other colours will probably shine through a little bit more. The red eye tetra are now in their own little school, and the lemon tetra over here in their own as well. I think I'll actually get a few more of each of those. Their numbers have dropped a little bit over the past, I suppose it's a year now, over a year, about a year and a half. Obviously the ones I get though will not be this size. I think I'll be very lucky to find lemon tetra and red eye tetra this big. Obviously these are adults now because they've grown since I've had them. I got them as babies, but now they're huge. But for them to be able to be in with Chunks, I need bigger tetra for sure. Chunks has just done a lap all the way around the back and then popped his head back out here. You enjoying that, buddy? I hope you are. The whole thing looks fantastic as well. Completely different to other tanks that we've got dotted around. So obviously you've got the great 8 foot there, which has got full colour and greens. And then Chunks' new tank's got a completely sort of different feel about it. And then opposite over here, we've got full green again with the puffer aquarium. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet. I'm going to have to come up with a plan, but it'll be something really cool. Because at the moment, that one in the middle is just looking so horrible compared to Timmy's tank next to it, which looks great, absolutely functional and working well for him. Timmy, you going to come say hello to everyone? Oh, there you are. Going to the front? You want to come and say hi? Ah, hello.